After nearly 30 hours of travel, we finally landed in Bali.
Frag ist, wo unser Driver ist.
Unfortunately, we didn't find a driver and spent yet another 2 hours waiting at the airport.
If we're by the entrance, we've been waiting for about 45 minutes.
When we finally found our driver, we got into the car and started driving to our Airbnb. We were super excited. Before arriving, our driver brought us to this really cozy little restaurant. We didn't, to this day, know what exactly it was, but it was just absolutely spectacular. After eating our very first dinner in Bali, we arrived in our Airbnb and we were absolutely blown away by how cool it looked.
Welcome.
After a long night's rest, we went to the beach for the very first time in the city we were staying at, Lovina. Lovina is known for its dolphin tours, which we will be getting to later in this video. We noticed that almost everyone was driving a moped in Bali, so we decided to see if we could rent some mopeds as well. After speaking to lots of locals, we realized that we could just ask our Airbnb owner to rent us 3 mopeds, which we then received the next morning. We were able to rent these for $5 per day. The first thing we did was just drive around, and the thrill of driving those for the very first time was something that I had never experienced before. Our first destination was this Buddhist temple called Brahma Vihara Alma.
Holy crap. This place is so nice. Unbelievable.
On the second day, we decided to go to this very nice waterfall and actually go swimming in it, which was really nice and refreshing. The next day, it was finally time. We were gonna go and do some dolphin watching. We met up with our guide at 5:45 in the morning to get on the boat and start driving out and look for the dolphins. We saw some beautiful sunsets and were eagerly awaiting to see the dolphins. Almost 2 hours later, we still hadn't seen a single dolphin and were losing a little bit of hope. But then in the distance, we started to see a lot of boats. The closer we got, the more we realized that there was a huge hotspot where all the tourist boats were located at. And there we actually did end up seeing some dolphins, which was really cool. After the dolphin watching, we also got to go and check out the coral reefs. I unfortunately didn't have any GoPro or an underwater camera, so I decided to take my iPhone underwater into the salt water, which did make me a little bit nervous, but luckily no water damage was taken and I was able to record these really cool underwater videos. We had heard a lot about the volcanoes in Bali and were really excited to go and visit one. After around 1.5 hours of driving, we took a quick break and ate at this restaurant with a very nice view to the volcano. After almost 2 hours of driving with a moped, we finally arrived and were really excited to go up the mountain. These two tourist guides stopped us from going up and told us we were obligated to take a guide. But we had seen on lots of reviews that there was gonna be these people that weren't gonna allow us to go up the mountain alone, even though we really did want to go up. They started to really discuss with us and we were worried that they were gonna do something, so we decided to leave. On our way, we found this guy who also was a guide and asked him if we really weren't able to go up there alone. He told us that unfortunately through there, those women just weren't gonna allow us to go through. So he showed us a different way to get up there. We were driving up and saw these locals who had their little house just chilling there. We asked them if this was a way we could go and they told us yes, we were pretty close. So we continued on driving up there on roads that really were made for our tires, but we were destined to get up there because we were not just gonna give up. Unfortunately, the farther we got up, the harder it was to get up with these mopeds. And suddenly, there was this person who was making the way and putting water there. And we asked him if we could get up there. But this guy started to get really mad at us and started to tell us to leave, and we were not allowed to be there. So we, again, got a little bit nervous and decided to leave. At that point, it was already pretty late, and we knew we still had to drive back almost 2 hours and decided to take the L on this one. But looking back, it was still a really memorable day, and even though we didn't get up, it was still pretty fun. When we arrived back in our Airbnb, the smog of the air and the dust of the waves made us so dirty, and we were just all so exhausted, and we're all ready to take a nice and refreshing shower. I really enjoyed my time in Bali. We saw lots of pretty weird things that we hadn't seen, like a huge group of children almost acting as if they were in military, walking in perfect unison, shouting some kind of song. We unfortunately did see a lot of stray dogs and just animals that weren't treated that well, like chickens. The rumors were true though, that the living expenses in Bali are really low. We were able to go out and eat for $3 to $5 per person, and we didn't just get 1 or 2 plates. We would end up getting between 4 and 5 to just try everything because the food was just so good. Bali pleasantly surprised me as a country, and I really did enjoy my time there. After 2 weeks in Bali, I was excited to go back home.